What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's that time again. It's Friday, the greatest day of the week. For some of you that work the 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, we're headed into the weekend. We got some great stuff for you coming up here. Breaking news in the NFL. We'll touch on university breaks. We'll touch on NBA fast breaks and a whole lot more. I'm your Friday host, Veejay Vernon Husky, the Big Vanilla Funny. And let's go to the breaks.
These are the breaks. You know what it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what's going on? Veejay Vernon Husky here, the Big Vanilla Funny, the Big Vanilla Poppy. Your Friday host for the breaks here on Infanity television. Breaking news before we get to anything right now in the NFL and the coaching carousel. And guess what? It's not about Bill Belichick. It's not about Harbaugh. We'll get to Nick Sirianni and we'll also get to Mike McCarthy down the line. But breaking news, the Vegas Raiders are finalizing a deal to make Antonio Pierce their permanent head football coach, which I love. This is a great move. This is a great move for the franchise. This is a great move for the players there. Max Crosby is on record for saying if they didn't bring him back, he might ask for a trade and ask to get out of there. This is outstanding. They did their due diligence. They had to interview other people. You got to follow the Rooney Rule and all that good jargon in the NFL. But Antonio Pierce, as of 44 minutes ago, reported by ESPN.com and all the other sports affiliates around the world right now, that the Vegas Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders, are finalizing a deal to make Antonio Pierce, Long Beach Poly's own. I used to live in Long Beach when I first moved out here, about 45 minutes from where we're shooting here in Los Angeles right now, will be the next head coach. So that takes the Raiders off the board as far as the Harbaugh watch goes. And we'll get into that a little later with university breaks, is where I think he and some of the other coaches are going to end up. But let's get right into the NFL because we're at divisional weekend. We're past the regular season. We're past the preseason. We're past training camp, OTAs, the NFL draft, all that stuff. And we've got through wild card weekend, and we are now in the divisional round. 8 teams left of the 32. 4 big games going this weekend. Let's get right to it, man. I'm not going to bore you guys with who I think is going to win. I'm just going to throw you guys some numbers to help you pick who you think might win. You guys watch the breaks every day. It's one of the popular shows here on Infanity TV on YouTube. So I'm sure by Friday, you've heard everybody's takes. So I want to bring you guys a little something different. So let's start with the Texans and the Ravens. This is a 9.5-point game that Vegas has it set at as far as DraftKings.com. Over-unders at 43.5. I look at this game right now. When it comes to these spreads, there's always a big spread that just won't cover. There's 2 of them this weekend. There's always going to be a blowout game, and then there's always something unexpected. We thought we might get that in the wild card round, and we kind of did. The Browns lost me money, and they lost a lot of people money because Uncle Flacco just spit up on himself and started throwing back-to-back pick sixes and then fumbling on sacks. And C.J. Stroud, the Texans, they just ran rambunctious over the Cleveland Browns. That might have been the big one last weekend. Other than that, everything else pretty much went chalk. We'll get into the Philadelphia Eagles, too. Even though they were favored, they were on the road. So the home teams pretty much held serve last weekend. So I think this weekend is where we could see some of the upsets that kind of, upsets the apple cart, as some people like to say, as far as some of these picks go and the script of the NFL. But I really do like this game. I like the Ravens getting a lot of their players back. Hamilton at the free safety position, who's a Pro Bowl and an All-Pro this year. The kid at Notre Dame will be back. Now, Harbaugh has said as early as this morning, he's not sure, it's still up in the air, if Mark Andrews is going to suit up and play tight end. But you still got L-Jax, who I think is going to win his second MVP, as most people do think. You have the power running game, number 1 in the NFL as far as running the football, the Baltimore Ravens. And then you have the defense. They're at home. They've had some rest. They've been off. The last 2 times they went out against the Steelers in the rainstorm and cold, that game was an anomaly. But the week before that, when my mighty Miami Dolphins, they're not so mighty right now, went in there, they put it on them. And they showed that we are the class of the AFC. We could be the class of the NFL. I know a lot of people want to think the Niners, and we'll get to that matchup coming up too, as the Packers head out there. But in this game, I'll just throw some numbers at you guys. Now, Baltimore is in January. This is when we're in the playoffs in January. In their last 14 games in January, though, you might be surprised to know that the Baltimore Ravens are 2-12 in their last 14. So that doesn't fare well for them, but they're 11-2 in their last 13 versus the Texans. So they have the advantage there. Quarterback, I think Baltimore has the advantage. Running back, I think Baltimore has the advantage. Now, the receiving position is different. I think the Texans have the advantage because I've been pumping Nico Collins being the Michigan guy since he came out of school. I know this year he had a breakout year and people are, oh, where'd Nico Collins come from? Hey, you got to get a quarterback, got to get some pieces, got to get a line to block, got to get a coach that's competent, know what he's doing in order to utilize and schematically put together an offensive game plan that's going to be proficient week in and week out. That's what they've been able to do with Nico Collins. I also like Dalton Schultz at the tight end position. I give them the edge at tight end position if Mark Andrews can't go. If Mark Andrews can go and he's about 80-85%, I give him there. On the defensive side of the ball, pull out a quarter and flip it. I'm serious. Pull out a quarter and flip it and where this could go, because let me tell you something. Coach Ryans for the Texans has got that defense playing like a defensive-minded head coach would. He was a Pro Bowler when he played. He was a dude. He was a stud. He was him. He was that guy. Even though I hate when people say it's him, I'm trying to attract myself to the younger audience out there. So I use some of y'all terminology. I refuse to use lit. You're not getting that out of me. But he is him. But you know what Harbaugh does on his side of the ball. Baltimore been playing defense since Crab Cake's been good in Baltimore. And the last time I checked, Crab Cake's been good in Baltimore since I was living in the DMV where I'm from and been eating crab cakes. They've been playing defense since then. You go even back to the old Cleveland Brown teams that moved to Baltimore back and forth, even all the way back to the Baltimore Colts with Johnny Unitas. They had a defense. That city is gritty, it's blue collar, it's cold, it's tough, it's hardcore this time of year. You better buckle your chin strap. You better eat 2 bowls of Wheaties, have an extra scoop in your protein snack, and leave the ladies alone for a night. You need to be ready to play when you come to Baltimore, and Baltimore is definitely going to bring up that defense. I don't think they cover. That's my only thing about that is I don't think they cover. 9.5 is big. This game, in my opinion, will go one of 2 ways. It's going to be a blowout, or it's going to be a very close game. I just don't think Texans blow them out. Baltimore one way. Also, another number I'll give you, any of you guys out there that really believe in the Texans and really believe they can make a Super Bowl run, as of this morning, their Super Bowl odds are plus 2,800. So if you put $100 down, do the math. If you feel like they're the team that can make a run, have all the pieces, CJ Stroud, bless you, young man. You've been playing great. Even though you're from Ohio, even though you play for that horseshoe team, I got to respect you, brother. Once you leave that program, I judge you as an NFL player, not where you came from. I also like the spread here on alternate spreads. A +3 for Texas as a +243 on the board. So even if they can cover a 3-point spread with Baltimore, make the game close, you want to put some bread on that for a +243, make your money there. But if you think it could be a blowout by Baltimore, to me, a blowout is 17+ points. A -17, they would have to cover that for Baltimore, is a +210. So moving on to my favorite game of the weekend is the Packers and the Niners. They have so much history, even though the Niners have owned the Packers in the playoffs. This Packers team just feels a little different than the Aaron Rodgers teams that were there going towards the end. This feels like the Packers team when Aaron Rodgers first took over, right? You knew he could play. They were coming off of Favre. They had some weapons there at the receiver position, the running back position, had a stud or 2 on defense there, and was able to do some things on the offensive end and late in the season and in the postseason where Aaron Rodgers. Jordan Love, you guys have got to finally take your hat off to this guy. He's probably made himself some money and made himself a new contract. This game is also at 9.5. Now, what's interesting is Vegas has the over-under at 50.5, which means they think it's going to be points. Both teams over 20. So both teams over 20, that means people are moving the ball up and down the field. But I'll throw you some numbers here, too. The Niners are 19-3 in their last 22 games against the NFC. So when they play all the NFC opponents, They're actually really, really good. The Packers, though, are 9-2 against the spread against NFC West teams in their last 11. So they covered the spread. I think the Packers covered this 9.5. This is big. Now, I know rest is either going to go one or two ways. It's either going to help your team, or you could come out a little chalky, a little rusty in the beginning until you get your wheels going. I think the way you remedy that, if you're San Francisco, you turn and you hand the ball to Christian McCaffrey a lot. You can work Purdy off the play action, hit Kittle in the seams, move Debo. Who wants some of Debo? Move him around, backfield, out in the slot motion. You know the things Shanahan likes to do. We see it with LaFleur, and we also see it with McVay and Mike McDaniel down in Miami. Had the number one offense in the NFL this year too. So I look at this game, and to me, it comes down to the quarterbacks. Can Love take that step? The Dallas game last week was crazy. They couldn't touch him. They couldn't sack him. They couldn't get no pressure on him. The Packers have a good offensive line, okay? And they also have a good defensive line. They were able to confuse Dak with their coverage, get pressure on Dak with just rushing 4 and 5 guys. They did not have to blitz a lot. This game is going to come down, in my opinion, to Brock Purdy. This is why you moved on from Trey Lance. This is why you made the moves that you made in the past to bring in a Chase Young and make a trade for him, get him out of the nation's capital and put him opposite side of Bosa so you have those two bookends rushing. But also running the ball is going to be crazy in this game for Aaron Jones. He has 3 straight 100-yard rushing games. Can he add a fourth? I think he can. Also, Aaron Jones on 100-plus yards, it's a plus 320 on the board right now, man. So if you throw $100 on that, on the plus 320 for Aaron Jones, whoever runs the ball for the most yards in this game will win this game. I like the Packers to cover this 9.5. They don't make mistakes easy, guys. Pay attention to that. If you go look at their first quarter, second quarter, first half, they don't give you the game early. San Francisco's going to have to stay steady, stay patient, stay with their plan. But I love this matchup between LaFleur and between Kyle Shanahan, two guys that know each other very, very well. I like the Packers to cover here. Also, really quickly, the Bucs and the Lions, man, this is an old NFC Central. If you're my age and you from where I'm from, this is an old NFC Central game. I wish the Bucs could wear the creamsicles and go up there and play the Lions. Lions were impressive. I thought last week the Rams let them off the hook. You get 3 drives inside the 20 inside the red zone, and you come away with 3 field goals. You got to get touchdowns. If they score 1 touchdown inside the red zone, they win this game, as they ended up losing the game only by 1 point here. But I love this spread here at 6.5. I think this is the upset that I would like to happen this weekend. I think the Bucs can get this game. Baker going downfield to Mike Evans, running the ball. This defense for Tampa is really, really good, but so is the Lions also too. But I like the Bucs to go on the road and get this one. Last but not least, Mahomes, Allen, Josh Apple turnover Allen, Pat Mahomes. Offenses haven't been the best for either side this year. Some hiccups, turning the ball over. We'll see what happens in this game too. 2.5-point lead. I'm going to tell you right now, guys, I don't really care who wins this game. I can't stand either one of them. I think they're the 2 biggest crybaby flopping quarterbacks in the league. I'm not even going to give y'all a pick. I'm going to let y'all pick that one your damn self. Sit tight, man. When we come back, we're going to get into university breaks, and I'm going to tell you guys the biggest overreaction is you guys need to relax in college football. All that and more coming up with Veejay Husky, your Friday host on These Are the Breaks. These are the breaks. I love that.
I'm Neko.
Sit tight. We'll be right back.
Sparks, and you are watching Infanity Television.
Profanity Nation. A podcast for the fans, by the fans. Dive deep into the topics the other shows miss. Raw and uncensored.
And he's going to play team ball. His legacy is at stake.
Rare, hard-hitting interviews with players, coaches, and you, the super fans.
I'm not hating. I'm like, okay, cool. Good.
3 championships in 5 years. He's more than good, bro.
Profanity Nation. Listen live or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Chanel Gwimike, and you're watching Infanity Television. Boom.
Shout out Infanity Television. This is Juju Watkins. See y'all.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Veejay Vernon Husky here with your Friday edition of The Breaks. And let's get right into University Breaks. Now, there's something that happens this time of year in college football that I think gets a complete, total overreaction, and that's the transfer portal. You see people acting crazy, talking about kids, cussing kids out on Twitter, wishing bad things on kids. Oh, he didn't want to really be here. If you don't really want to be here, then go. Why'd you commit? Things, all this. Guys, relax. Calm down. It's the way sports is. It's the way college football is. It's the way college basketball is. You either adapt or you perish when it comes to changes. Ask Mr. Nick Saban. You know why Nick really retired? Because he knows now you can't just monopolize college football and get all the best kids that come down to Tuscaloosa anymore. Kids on the West Coast can say, you know what? I can stay here and go to Oregon or Oregon State or SC or UCLA and be close to grandma, close to my friends that come watch me play. I can still go home and do laundry. I could go home and get mom's chicken cutlets. I could do so much here. I don't have to go all the way to Alabama, Tuscaloosa. It costs my family a whole bunch of money traveling. But let me tell you why it's an overreaction of people acting that the portal is ruining college football. It's killing college football. No, it's not. It's actually making college football better. But let me tell you why you guys are overreacted to it. As of December 7th, there's been over 1,000 players that hit the portal. Now, many of you are going to go, oh, come on, VJ. That's a lot of damn people. That's a lot of players. Over 1,000? It's not when you look at the number of kids that play in Division I FBS. 15,167. Bet you didn't know that number. In the FCS, which I used to work for and call games in the Big Sky Conference for Cal Poly University and ESPN 1280, 13,028 kids. That is a total of 28,195 total Division I players. And you're crying about a little over 1,000 transferring? Come on, guys. Get off of this train of it's ruining college football. I think it's making college football better. Nick Saban left Bama. You know who else is leaving Bama? Caleb Downs, true freshman safety who led him in tackles. Also led him in tackles in the game against Michigan. They lost in the Rose Bowl. Also, Caden Proctor, the offensive tackle who looks like he could be going to Michigan. Michigan was number 2 on his list when he put on the Alabama hat coming out of high school. Isaiah Bond, that's a big one right there because he's going from Bama to Texas. And I'm telling you guys all right now, my way too early national champion for next year is going to be the Texas Longhorns. They return a lot of talent, and they are moving in the portal. They were this close from beating Washington. They get to the championship game. I think they might put up a better fight than Washington did against Michigan. They still lose that game, though. Dante Moore, the quarterback out here in L.A., UCLA, he's heading up to Eugene to play for the Oregon Ducks. So I think that keeps that program going well because they're losing Bo Nix, right? But you bring in another prominent quarterback. We want to see Oregon. We like all the different crazy uniforms. We like Phil Knight. We love the duck on the motorcycle for the pregame. Why would you want that program to suffer and go down? That's not good for college football, especially with them moving to the Big Ten. They got to go to the big house to play Michigan. They play Ohio State. They play Penn State. They're going to have Big Ten teams come out to Oregon, to Eugene, to play a couple of night games. You want them to be prominent. You want them to be the best. I want the best coaches. I want the best teams. I want the best stars. Don't give me crap. Don't give me mediocrity. Don't give me parody. Everybody thinks we love parody. You don't love parody. If you love parody, you would go somewhere else other than Starbucks. But where do you go get your coffee from? Starbucks. You don't go to the mom and pop on the corner of your apartment building where you live. You drive 2 miles down the road to go to Starbucks. So miss me with the overreaction about parody and mediocrity in college football. This is great for college football. I think we all need to own this and understand these kids deserve to have the freedom to move how they want to move and where they want to go. We don't say nothing when the coach wants to leave. You guys are saying anything to the coach that left Washington to take the Bama job? Oh, are you guys saying anything to the Arizona coach that left to take the Washington job? Oh, people want Harbaugh gone out of Michigan. Oh, why would he leave? Don't leave. You just won a national. People want that man gone because they know he's dominating college football, and we act like we don't like it. But the only people that get upset about this when it comes to the portal are people who are losing their own players and kids, whether you're a fan or whether you're an alumni, whether you're a booster or whether you're one of the money handshake people, because I think the money handshake stuff still happens. Even though you got NIL, everybody can't cash in like Shedeur Sanders. Did you see him and Shiloh? They missed the first meeting this week with Colorado that Dion had with Coach Prime, had with his team. You know where they were? Oh, just in Paris modeling in the Louis Vuitton fashion show. When did you ever see college kids do that? Why would you fight against that? If it was a pro player, you wouldn't care. But because it's college and it's kids, we got to control. We got to get rid of this control. These are actually young men. They're not kids anymore. These are young, grown men that are budding into full-grown men. Why not let them have the freedom to go where they want to go and make the money that they want to make? To me, it is driving and helps college football. Also, 2 university breaks real fast here. 2 local teams I'll touch on. UCLA, USC basketball. Bronny James is now starting for the USC Trojans. Didn't have such a great game. Went 5 for 11 the other night. Scored 11 points. But you can start to see that they're starting to work Bronny in here at USC. And I told people all along, I like Bronny James. May not be much of a LeBron guy. Everybody knows that about me by now. But that doesn't mean I can't like his son. I think his son's really good. I think his son could be a prominent, I would say, average to good NBA player. I don't think he's a superstar, but I think that's what most of the NBA is. There's really 10 superstars in the NBA, and everybody else is just kind of mixed in, right? It's like a bag of trail mix. We love the chocolate chips, but there's way more raisins, there's way more cranberry, there's way more nuts and cashews and stuff than the chocolate chip morsels. Oh, that's what you really bought that certain bag for, those chocolate chip morsels. To me, Bronny James is the chocolate chip morsels. It's just not enough of them in there for you to really love what you see and what you taste in there. But I like what he's doing there. UCLA basketball, they got some things to figure out there, man. Taking some bad losses. They just took a loss a few weeks ago against Long Beach State, and they lost to Cal State Northridge, to the Matadors. They lost to the Matadors
loser.
At home. That was a bad loss. So college basketball is kind of middle of the road here in LA. We'll touch on it a lot more as we go with the days that I host here on Friday on the breaks. But those were 2 things also that I just wanted to touch on in the local market, man, going on with college basketball, and then also the portal on the breaks for university breaks. Sit tight. When we come back, we're doing that thing called Fast Breaks. I'll tell you where franchise needs to make a trade right now. All that and more coming up with your Friday host, Veejay Husky on the breaks.
Hey everyone, I'm Neko Gumike with the LA Sparks, and you are watching Infanity Television.
Profanity Nation. A podcast for the fans, by the fans. Dive deep into the topics the other shows miss. Raw and uncensored.
And he's going to play team ball. His legacy is at stake.
Rare, hard-hitting interviews with players, coaches, and you, the super fans.
I'm not hating. I'm like, okay, cool. Good.
3 championships in 5 years. He's more than good, bro.
Profanity Nation. Listen live or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Chanel Gwimike, and you're watching Infanity Television. Boom.
Shout out Infanity Television. This is Juju Watkins. See y'all.
Welcome back to your Friday edition of The Breaks. I'm your host, Veejay Verna Husky, the Big Vanilla Funny, and this is Fast Break. So speaking of Fast Break, you think about Showtime. You think about Showtime, there's only one thing to think about. That's not that awful movie with Eddie Murphy and Robert De Niro. You think about the Los Angeles Lakers. And what I'm about to tell you guys right now, I'm sure is going to ruffle a lot of feathers, but I said this 2 years ago. So this is nothing new to me. Everybody's talking about trades. The Lakers need to make trades. The Lakers need to fire Darvin Ham. The Lakers do need to make a trade. And I wouldn't have said this about any other player, but I've been saying it about the same player for the last 2 years. Sit back, buckle up. Don't jump through the TV screen at me. The Lakers need to trade LeBron James now. You need to move LeBron now. And I'm going to tell you a few reasons why. Number one, since AD got to town, AD's been their best player. Whether you like to admit that or not, just put the tape on. When they work through AD, when they start going through AD, when they start the game through AD, I'll be real, man. Regardless of who else they have other than him or LeBron, they're almost unbeatable. But when you want to go through LeBron to let LeBron be the system, that's when this team struggles, ladies and gentlemen. It just is what it is. Just put the tape on. Do they have certain nights where he goes off and they get big wins? Yes, they do. But that's not sustainable. Him averaging 30 or 30 straight points in 10 games or whatever it was, that wasn't a winning formula. They weren't winning games like that. Right now, he's at 24, 7, and 7. AD leads them in rebounds. He's at 26 and 12. That's the formula right there. You don't trade away Rudy. You don't trade away Reeves. And D'Lo. I'm going to back D'Lo right now, which I've never done since he came into the NBA. You guys want to trade D'Lo? Do you see how D'Lo plays the nights LeBron sits out or the nights AD gets going first and he feeds off of D'Lo? If you want to look to the future, you got to move the guy that's about to be 40 and that's chasing stats and pretty much is probably going to try to get you guys to draft Bronny. I saw a report yesterday that people have him on their draft board. Like I said, I think he's chocolate chip morsels and a bag of trail mix. It's good. It's just not enough of it. And I think that's the type of player that Bronny is. But I'll give you some numbers about D'Lo. D'Lo right now is averaging 16 and 6 dimes. 16 points and 6 dimes. He's shooting 40% from the three. He's shooting 47% from the field. Boom. He's being effective when you allow him to play. Do you know what you could probably get for LeBron right now for a franchise that would want to draft Bronny and know that LeBron wants to play there? That's ticket sales, that's merchandise, that's jersey sales, that's filling up an arena. He could still do that. LeBron is still that guy that can still draw attention to your franchise if you want to draft his son so you can get him. I just don't think that's what the Lakers should do. They've already gutted the cupboard. Bye-bye. They've already traded away so many picks and so many players. I really can see a positive team with D'Lo being the 1 and 2 with AD. AD being the 1, of course, not D'Lo. But a guard, a true guard, and a big man like that with all the other pieces you have, and then what you can recoup back that you've given away that LeBron asked you to give away, even though he said he didn't. He doesn't do that. We all are smart enough to know. Like I tell people all the time, don't pee in my face and tell me it's raining. Come on. Don't do that. I'm not that guy. I can't fall for that. But I think this is the time you move LeBron. I said it 2 years ago when he went to All-Star Weekend and he started calling all these other GMs the real MVP, his kind of slight to Rob Pelinka, which when they got back in town, Rich Paul had to go have a meeting with Jeannie and kind of clear some things up. We know it's been reported, so I'm not putting out any rumors. He had to go have a meeting. No, that wasn't what he was doing. Everything is cool. Everything is fine. Because I think Jeannie at one point was like, okay, dude, like, look, this isn't Miami. This isn't Cleveland. We don't do that here. Kobe was the only guy that could get away with doing that here, making subliminal message or just coming out on Stephen A. Smith's radio show and was like, man, they know what they told me. You guys remember it. They know what they told me. They know what they told me. He's the only guy that could do that here. We're doing what you're asking to do. Please don't go to All-Star Weekend and throw the front office under the bus. We don't deal and do it there. I went on radio, on Fox Sports Radio that day and said, I trade him now. You can get a haul for him and recoup back some of the stuff that you put out there for him. I like some of the pieces they have. I know they're going through some injuries. Cam Reddish, another quick name there. I thought Cam Reddish, when him and Barrett and Zion were at Duke, I was adamant as saying Cam is the best prospect. He's the best player. I understand Zion's the hype, and RJ Barrett likes to gun a little bit. But I thought Cam Reddish was the more complete long-term basketball player that would be in the pros. We've already seen Zion. We saw his problems. Barrett's already been traded from the Knickerbockers. He's up in Toronto now. I haven't even heard from him since he got up there. I know he's from Toronto or from Canada, but I haven't heard much from him. They just traded Pascal Siakam, I think that's how you pronounce his name, to the Pacers. So if I'm the Lakers right now, I look at their next 10 games also too. Portland, Clippers, Chicago. Then a 6-game run on the road. Golden State, Houston, Atlanta, Boston, New York, Charlotte, and then back home for Denver. They're 21-21, 10th in the East. They take on the Brooklyn Nets tonight. I'm telling you, make a move if you're going to make a move. I know this is sacrilegious. I trade LeBron, but hey, they once traded Shaq. So nobody's untradeable. Great show today, guys. I appreciate you guys all tuning in on Friday. I'm Veejay Vernon Husky, and this has been The Breaks. You guys stay blessed. Have a great weekend. I'll see you all right here on Infinity TV next week.